Welcome to Think Tank. I'm Steve Adubato. We're coming to you from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio in Newark. It is our honor and pleasure to introduce Jennifer Bariso, who is a technology teacher at Robert Erskine and Peter Cooper Elementary Schools in Ringwood, New Jersey. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You were part of a larger discussion we had with 4 extraordinary educators about New Jersey and national issues around education and teaching. But you were in a classroom close-up special, correct?
Yes.
With our colleagues and friends at the NJEA. This is about coding for kindergartners?
Yeah. It's a maker environment. It's a coding environment. And I kind of tried to bring it down to my kindergartners to start young and to just get them ready for what they're going to see in the 2nd and 3rd grade.
You ready to check this out?
Ready.
Here's the video from Classroom Close-Up.
Hopscotch in kindergarten, that seems right, but that's not what's going on here. These kindergartners are learning the fundamentals of coding.
Is that a successful code? Yeah. Yes! Way to go!
I think it's more like play for them, and I think that's the trick in getting kids to learn.
This symbol means to hop in place because both arrows say move forward with both feet going at the same time. We started with the paper arrows because they can see it in a line, and then they can have the robot or the student move through that process, and then they see what's wrong. Now this one moves again. This one stays. Now, can he jump with 2 feet together? No, right? So there's something wrong with our code. Problem solving is a huge part of coding. Right in here, what would you do different? Hey, that's an excellent idea. Can we say the word debug?
Watching them be able to look at pictures and maneuver them and change them, and really using those words like debug and coding and programming is pretty incredible.
Say, wiggle your fingers, how many times?
They're learning and making the connections that this is all coding. Whether it's on the floor and it's using paper or it's using the blocks, they're solving problems and they're thinking.
We already worked on the floor doing our unplugged activities, so now we're going to do it on the computer. So we'll do
It's all a process. They started off with the paper and then they moved to the next step in the blocks and then they moved to the computers.
I try to stress to them that it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are okay. You're not being graded on whether you get to this level or not. It's the learning that you are finding as you're going through the process. Like, oh, I meant to turn right and not left. I have to go up, not down. And it's sometimes just that simple switch that makes everything make sense.
When you look at it, at first, it's surprising because they're so young, but when you watch them, you realize it's actually kind of natural for them. They have an uncluttered mind, so explaining difficult concepts like algorithms may be hard for them to grasp, but when you put it on the floor and have them hop around or give them some arrows and some rules, they begin to see how algorithms work with sequence and patterns.
Through coding and programming, they're being exposed to some of the biggest careers out there right now and the fastest growing. If you know how to do this stuff on a small level and they like it and they start to do it more and more, then they're setting themselves for up great career goals. So it's also career planning when they don't even know it. You're coding now. Give yourselves a hand.
Simply awesome. As I'm watching this, Jennifer, all I could think of is, and I hate bringing it back to Think Tank because it's the name of the show, you're helping these kids think.
Yes. I'm just trying to bring it down to the simplest of level and to build a good solid foundation of them thinking how to get a fuzzy through a puzzle, how to walk through and know the next step is the right step. And then hopefully as I build it through the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, then I could set them on to the next school and they can build on from there.
Where'd you get the whole hopscotch thing?
Actually, my administrator got me that. He says, what do you think of this? And I was like, oh my God, I could so use this. Because it's very hard to find coding activities for kindergartners.
Why?
I just don't think a lot of people are doing it yet or simplifying it enough for them to get it. Because they come in and they've been on iPads, they've been on phones, they've been on so many touch screens that when I tell them to click on the X, they're like touching the screen. So it's getting them to use the mouse for the first couple months of school because they've never used a desktop. So it's just breaking it down.
So it's interesting because this is not the same as, hey, how much time should our kids be on an iPad? It is more a question of using the technology to use your mind.
Right. And, I'm not going to say I think kids should use screen time less. But if what they're doing on the screen is building blocks that are going to help them think, help them learn the step-by-step process, then that's okay.
Yeah.
If they're staring at videos all day and looking at YouTube all day, then that's a whole nother ballgame.
You're also preparing these young people for future careers.
Absolutely.
Well done. Jennifer Bariso, this is Think Tank, and you are getting your kids to think every day, and we cannot thank you enough for what you do and your colleagues do as educators. Well done.
Thank you very much.
I'm Steve Adubato. This is Think Tank, and we'll be right back.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, New Jersey Sharing Network, Johnson & Johnson, Guarini Institute for Government and Leadership at St. Peter's University, and by the Fidelco Group. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.